We must take additional action to keep Kansans safe.
More restrictions or more pushback?
We're restricting individual rights to practice religious liberties.
A shockingly irresponsible decision that will put every Kansas life at risk.
We cannot let our population of people be confused by the message. We have to not keep gathering in groups of people. Otherwise, we will not bend this curve.
We understand that this is a time of challenge and crisis for lots of folks.
I'm ordering a statewide stay-at-home Missouri.
I'm proud of the governor for making this step.
Follow this order. Stay at home, Missouri.
I know sometimes it's hard to change course in politics because there's a whole another group of people that will attack you, but this was a necessary course change.
This week our reporters are back as we track where we are now, where we're headed, and what the new normal looks like in Kansas City.
Week in Review is made possible through the generous support of Dave and Jamie Cummings, Bob and Marlise Gorley, Smithfield Foods, Haas and Wilkerson Insurance, the Courtney S. Turner Charitable Trust, John H. Mize and Bank of America N.A. co-trustees, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome everyone, I'm Nick Haynes. Isn't it tough to keep track of a news story that's changing every 5 minutes? Well, this week we tried to make sense of it all for you at home in the next 30 minutes. Our reporter panel is back with us and they're sitting mere inches from one another on our Zoom screen. We have Dia Wall, anchor and reporter from 41 Action News with us, keeping a pulse on what's happening in Kansas City from behind a microphone at KMBZ Radio. Dana Wright is with us. From KCUR News, Steve Kraske, and chief political reporter from KMBC 9 News, Michael Mahoney. Is it okay with you if we start in Kansas? Because seems to be right now where the biggest pushback is happening on these coronavirus restrictions. We have legislative leaders this week overturning an emergency order in the state of Kansas to allow services to happen, churches to open for Easter Sunday. Is this the biggest pushback of these restrictions on stay-at-home orders in our bi-state, or only the most visible one at this point?
Well, I think it's one of the most visible ones, Nick, and certainly maybe one of the biggest. I think what surprised me the most about these fights that we've seen in both Missouri and Kansas about how our leaders are reacting to this virus is the extent to which Republicans are staying true to their ideological values and Democrats are doing very much the same things. Here, Republicans in Kansas saying, hey, Democratic Governor Kelly, you can't tell us and tell Kansans they can't meet in church on Sundays. And Democrats pushing back very hard against that. Republicans saying you've got to allow people to do whatever they want. It's a really huge split and a very important split. I bet it's going to make a lot of national news in the days to come.
Dana Wright, is it odd, though, for many people in Kansas where you can't go to a church, but yet I can go to a liquor store, I can go to a golf course, I can get my dry cleaning done?
Yeah, don't you touch golf, Nick Haynes. We're not even going there. I will say this. The problem with the churches, and this is not anti-religion, this is not anti-church, the problem is twofold. Number one, getting a large number of people in a small confined space. We have already seen where that leads. 3 of the outbreaks in Kansas right now, including several of the deaths, are traced directly back to church gatherings. That's number one. Number 2, singing. Look at the story out of the LA Times about a week ago. There is a horrible cluster with several deaths over singing. It was a choir. And when you project and sing, the thinking goes, all of those particles fly around the room. And then the people in that building go back out into their communities and spread it to the rest of us. It's not anti-religion, it's pro-science.
This really started from the Senate President, Susan Wagle, who, when Governor Kelly opened up, made this order that included religious services, she fired out and said, well, bars and restaurants can be open, but have to be limited, but abortion clinics can still operate. And she is a strong advocate of restrictions on abortions. And that was sort of the germ for Wagle to go after this. And then the Attorney General in the state of Kansas, more directly to your question, said that if that order would have stood about limitations on the number of people at a church service, he was encouraging law enforcement, not to prosecute it.
And we also had a Kansas congressional candidate right here say sheriffs don't enforce this. But dear Wall, what is happening? I mean, isn't that the case all across our metro? We had the police chief on this program last week, and he says they're still also taking a very light presence here. They're not out arresting people. Has that changed this week? Is law enforcement doing more?
No. I mean, I think that we've heard it from Missouri Governor Mike Parson over and over again. They really want this to be about personal responsibility. But just to go back to what Dana said, I think at odds is doing what's best for public health. People are dying as a result of gathering in groups like they do in church. And I think the conversation could shift to you can still worship. We would just prefer that this were not to happen in groups of hundreds and thousands. And so I think that it's tough because it's not just Christian churches, right? It's Jewish holidays. This is a significant portion of people in the metro and one of the biggest holidays of the year. And so I think the conversation is what has to shift. As far as enforcement, no, it hasn't changed. Law enforcement doesn't want to be tied up.
Okay, Michael.
Enforcing people for gathering.
Yeah, just to sort of ratify on this point, what the Democrats and the Kelly administration are saying, this is not about a restriction on the right to worship. You can pray if you like, but it's a restriction on the size of the gatherings. I think the optics of this.
Isn't it interesting,
I think the optics of this order are bad as well, because like Steve said early on, it's making national news already.
Earlier this week, it was Governor Mike Parson making all of the news. Some people saying his stay-at-home order was more porous. Now it seems all of the issues are not in Missouri, but on the Kansas side.
Well, I just want to point out, Nick, to everybody, and I don't doubt Senator Weigel's sincerity here. She is a very conservative Republican, but keep in mind something important here. She is in a very difficult race for the Republican primary nomination for the U.S. Senate right now. She's running against a guy named Chris Kobach, who's very much better known than she is, and maybe the first district congressman as well, who's also in this race. I just want to point out that Susan Weigel has taken a number of extremely controversial steps in recent months in an attempt to get more attention and to break into that conservative sphere in Kansas and get more traction for this race. That shouldn't get lost in all this.
Okay.
And interestingly,
Michael, just stop there for a moment, because I want to bring in Dana Wright, because one of the big questions our viewers have is, about the actual health aspects of this. And you have doctors on every single day on your program, and they want to know about, are we flattening the curve? And it seems some of the statistics seems to be changing. We've been hearing about the Institute of Health Metrics. Last week, they were projecting, it'll be May 18th in Missouri before we'll see a peak there. Late April in the state of Kansas. You go on their website this week, I see it's now Kansas, April 20th, Missouri, April 21st. And yet you see the KU Hospital, their chief medical officer, giving a completely different picture, talking about it being May. So what is changing then, and what is the difference between these?
Nick, what we're hearing from our listeners on KMBZ is that there is no singular message. There's no adult in the room saying this is what we should all be doing. And that goes to the mask issue. We weren't supposed to wear them. Then we were supposed to wear them. Then, well, don't wear the important ones, wear a homemade one. All of the messaging keeps changing, not just with the masks, but as you mentioned, with the timeline. People will do what they are told to do if they just have direction. And there has been a lack of direction from the very beginning with this virus. Even some of the infectious disease experts that we have had on our show don't or can't agree at this time on when this thing is going to be over. The other thing I will mention quickly is there seems to be a disconnect, and I think all of you would agree with what we're seeing on the national news every single night. People see what's going on in New York and the panic and the death, and they're not necessarily seeing those things in the Kansas City area, certainly in the rural parts of the state, which gets back to the Mike Parsons issue. And they're saying, look, is this even really a thing? I mean, I know it's bad there. We're not seeing it here.
Well, let's see what we are seeing here, dear Wall. I see that, for instance, we had the mayor on this program, the police chief, and they all say, yes, we're doing a pretty good job about social distancing, but are we really living up to the expectations of public health officials here in terms of keeping distance and staying at home?
No. That's the short answer here. No, because this is counter to everything that we as Americans love. We get to do what we want, when we want, how we want, and that's accepted. Here's the struggle. 2/3 of the rural counties in this country already have coronavirus there. And just because it may be a little bit delayed and they haven't felt the real impact when they need to seek medical care doesn't mean that it's not serious. When you talk about these models that are coming out, where the disconnect lies, Dr. Anthony Fauci from the president's coronavirus task force talked about this morning. And what he said was the models are only as good as the information you put into them. So what happens, every model uses different data. But the reason a lot of people say they're beginning to see the curve flatten is because some of the measures taken 2 and 3 weeks ago may be starting to work. So I think health officials are saying, don't take our foot off the gas. We need to continue these measures, and they don't want to incite that overconfidence. But the truth is, most of the stuff that's going on is not essential. The Texas in me wants to say it ain't essential, okay? So we really need to buckle up. This is the time where you look to your left and to your right and say, we as Americans got to do our part to slow the spread.
Okay. By the way, some really interesting images coming out of life under lockdown in Kansas City. We want to show you some of those as we continue the conversation. These are amazing photographs courtesy of The Pitch, kansascity.com, KCUR News, and the St. Joseph News Press. Steve Kraske, I saw Missouri lawmakers headed back to Jefferson City at a $6 billion plan to help people. We hear about this, of course, but does it really actually help individuals?
Well, that's a great question. A lot of this money is federal money that's going to the state of Missouri, Nick, and then will go out to community health centers, that kind of thing. So I think in that way, it will wind up helping people. But if people are expecting handouts of cash, stimulus checks in their pocket from the state of Missouri, that's not going to happen. That money is coming from the federal government in the next, hopefully, 2 or 3 weeks, but they're not going to get richer via the state of Missouri, Nick.
Okay, Dia, we have been inundated at KCPT with calls from people tearing their hair out trying to get help from elected leaders when they hear about this help, and they hear it from the news stations. Is it really there from them? Lee in Roland Park says, I've been dialing the unemployment number sometimes hundreds of times a day. I'm just put on endless hold or disconnected. I thought both states were adding more lines, adding more people. Is this still a problem?
There's only so many lines you can add. I mean, at one point, Kansas Governor Laura Kelly said they got 788,000 calls in one day. You can't find enough bodies, enough phone lines to answer all of those calls. On both sides of the state line, they are really trying to refer people to get on the websites. And it may seem more cumbersome, and I do understand there are some barriers there for a lot of people in our community, but we got to start trying to rally around our older populations, right? Our neighbors, our friends, the people who may not have that connectivity, because you can get your applications in and checks are already set to be coming out in Missouri next week. So I would, as much as I understand how hard it is right now, the easiest way is going to be to utilize these websites, unless you have a language barrier or some of those other kind of concerning factors where it's really a hindrance for you. But try to get on the website, guys.
By the way, there was a story earlier this week that said Kansas City, Missouri wouldn't actually get the money because it's fewer than 500,000, and the federal requirements were that you had a population of over 500,000. Is that still an issue, Michael? No?
Yes, it is an issue, and the mayor believes that they've got the demographers from the city, the bean counters here, who believe that Kansas City's population now is approximately 505,000, and that's the number that they're submitting to the feds, and they believe that they can demonstrate that number is true because the last number of 492 was from 2018. They believe the city has grown since then. And that's the number that they're submitting in because they would rather have a control of their own money rather than having it distributed through, say, Jackson County or something like that. So they believe that they're now entitled to it. We'll see how it plays out.
Dana Wright, if we reach the peak period, which we're talking about, might be in April, it might be in May, what happens then? It's unclear to me how we unravel this. How do we go back to something different? What is the first thing that opens back up? Is it our schools with desks a little bit further apart? Is it your local J.C. Penney branch that opens up first? What is it?
You know, I hope for all of the small business owners watching, it's the small businesses. I have friends who are independent contractors. I have friends who are small business owners. They have got to get back to work. Any aid that comes in the form from the federal government or state governments is a Band-Aid for those folks on a gaping, gashing wound right now. None of the friends I have that I've talked with about this can even get through to speak with anybody about relief. So I do hope it's the small business owners. And my guess is, Nick, they slowly step us back in the way we stepped out. So it went from 250 people you could gather to 100 to 50 to 10. My guess is in several weeks, they'll start looking at slowly expanding the number of people and then slowly try to step us back into some sense of normalcy.
Okay. Steve Kraske.
You know, Nick, it strikes me that so much of what we're talking about here today has to do with this bigger idea of our society at large really trying to come to grips with such a fast-moving pandemic that we're seeing here. The number of people, the cutoff of 500,000 people that Mike talked about, the uncertainty of which businesses will open up first. Everyone is trying to grapple with this thing, including some of the very specific aspects of the coronavirus itself. Big questions like, if you've already had the coronavirus, are you immune to it going forward? We had an expert on KCUR this week saying we don't know the answer to that question yet. There's so much we don't know yet, and yet we're trying to judge our officials and make these hard and fast decisions based on uncertain information in so many cases. And I think people have to keep all of this in context a little bit.
Yes. And Dana mentions, of course, the small businesses that we need to support. Some of those small businesses won't be reopening. We see that Nick and Jake's, just south of the plaza on Main Street, that location permanently closed, and we'll be seeing more of those too. You know, we used to do a segment on this program, Dia Wall, about the big story we missed. And yet, you know, we think about all of our newsrooms. Everybody is so geared towards focusing for the last month on everything to do with coronavirus. What is the big story we have missed?
Oh, I think the biggest one, we did cover it, thankfully, is Bernie Sanders dropping out before the Kansas voters even had their opportunity to cast their ballots in the Democratic primary. So I would say that's the biggest one. I'm very surprised that former Vice President Joe Biden already had a conversation with President Trump. So I'm interested to see what our elections look like come November, because there's already stuff bubbling up about the potential of having mail-in ballots and what that looks like. So I definitely think that's the biggest story that we have not yet really dived deep into.
And in Kansas, they have abandoned completely in-person voting for the primary in Kansas in May. That is completely now mail-in ballot. Dana, was there a big story you think we've missed?
You know, unfortunately, with 2 to 6 p.m. and Scott and Dana, it is almost exclusively all Corona all the time. And that's not to say it's all bad news all the time. We're having infectious disease experts on. We had the mayor on a couple of days ago. We're asking people to share their good news with us because we all need a break from the bad news. And I think we've got another at least several weeks of this, knock on wood, until our show at least can go back to some semblance of what else is going on outside of our windows as we're all trapped inside right now.
Yes, and most of you are actually working from home. I see you, Dia Wall, by the way. You are actually anchoring your program from your home.
Yes, it is definitely different. So when people at home say, oh my gosh, they're talking at us, we're going through this right alongside you. And so I just really hope, to Dana's point, you recognize we're doing our best to bring you good stories as we can, show you how our community is really trying to come together around this thing for the next couple weeks while we ride it out.
And Dana, that is not the studios of KMBZ, though you've got the banner there. That's your house, right?
No, I stole this sign and I'm not wearing pants. I'm working from home.
Okay. What about you, Steve Kraske? Are you going into the studios when you do that show on the 9 o'clock every morning where you're updating everybody on coronavirus?
You know, Nick, yes, I am. We have a very small skeletal crew of about 4 or 5 of us who are down here each day putting on the show. We're prepared to move home if we need to. but there aren't many people here. That's the good news. But we are still traveling in every day. Yes.
And Michael, I've seen you still in footage in Topeka talking with the governor and other people. So you're still out and about.
Yeah, a little bit I am doing also a lot of work here. This is literally the dining room table in my house. Real quickly, to go back to your question about stories that we have missed, two things locally that I think have fallen through the cracks. Number one is the city council has yet to approve the money package for the Buck O'Neill Bridge. It's now been held 3 times. I did one story on it, but it was held again this week. The other one is this fact that they are now looking at drastically remodeling the Barney Alice Plaza in downtown Kansas City, making it a very different looking space, taking away some of the parking spaces that are in the garage underneath it. All of this sort of stuff is flying underneath the radar because there is such a concentration on covering this unprecedented virus.
And we never hear about the airport anymore, the new terminal being built. We never hear about potholes anymore. Steve, do you worry, though, that there are, because if most reporters really are working from home, that we have city governments, county governments, state governments who are able to pull off some unpopular things that they've wanted to do that they know the public wouldn't like, and they're going to move on those now because everybody's focused on coronavirus, and that's the only thing they seem to care about?
Well, I do worry about it. I worry about it from 2 perspectives, Nick. One, it's the ability of reporters to get out and cover the stories. On the other end, it's the ability of the public to sort of look at and focus on anything else besides anything that has to do with COVID-19. KCUR had a story just this week about some new developments in Clay County where the commission voted to allow one of the 3 commissioners to be in charge of a major construction project up there at the courthouse. And, you know, it's not the kind of transparency you'd like to see, but I wonder how much public kickback there is right now because people are so focused on their own situations.
And to that point quickly, I think it's very important to mention, Nick, support local journalism, support it now. It is more important now than it has ever been in the history of our lives to support the journalists bringing you these stories.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, we were leaving your studios, Nick, Mike Mahoney and I, and Mike and I were talking, and having Mike looked at me and said something like, you know, this is probably the biggest story of our careers. And both Mike and I are on the tail end of those careers at this point. And I think he's absolutely right. This is just a massive story. And that's why we moved up to date to 9 o'clock every day instead of 11, a broader audience, more resources being poured into the show. It is a magnificent story and in all the wrong ways and the right ways too.
But some people are getting, they don't want to hear about the news. It's too grim. There's too much angst in the news. Yet there are uplifting stories we see all around us. I was interested, by the way, I saw perhaps the luckiest people in our entire metro this week were the citizens of Gardner. And did you see that the city there is picking up their entire electric bills for every single resident? We know we have residents who are struggling, says the mayor of Gardner. We want to promote and provide some relief so you can tear up your whole electric bills there. What was the most uplifting story you've seen this week, dear Wall?
You know, I would have to say it was one we ran last night, and it was done by my colleague. I got to shout her out, Ariel Rothfield. It was a 3rd grade teacher, and she was sending her students handwritten letters. Sorry, I might tear up. Sending them handwritten letters with pre-addressed stamps so they could write her back. And she said, I would love for them to have the commas in the right place. I would love for them to have the periods and the capital letters. But what matters is that they're writing and that they know I care about them and that I love them. So let me take this moment to shout out all of our educators out there who are making it for these kids.
Absolutely. We also had one of our viewers saying, don't forget the other heroes. This is Deborah Churchill. Those are the people who are making the food, who are in your restaurants, who are in the hospitals making the food, and those who are in janitorial positions and maintenance who are in the front lines. They don't get any credit. We're giving them one right now. Michael Mahoney, for you, the most uplifting story of the week?
It was a story that my colleague Haley Harrison did a couple of days ago. She tracked down a bagpiper. And as a Welshman, you're going to enjoy this story, Nick. And this fellow by the name of John Tootie, a retired KCK firefighter, simply goes out with his pipes around the neighborhoods of Kansas City, and in the afternoon and the evening, plays his pipes for a little while. Now, pipe music is a bit of an acquired taste. So I don't know if he was playing his pipes to drive them back inside or to have them come out.
You may want to ask your colleagues at KMBC 9 News that I am actually going about neighborhoods with my triangle, and they may want to do a story about that. That is less of an acquired taste. Everybody likes the ding of a triangle. Dana Wright, the most uplifting story for you over the last week was what?
Well, honestly, over the last week was another education story. There are teachers who have gone through the community, got all the addresses of their little first and second graders, the younger kids, and they've done chalk art in the driveway in the dark of night. And the messages brought a tear to my eye. They said, "I miss you. Hang in there. I love you. We'll see you soon." So shout out, number one, to all of the educators out there, but anyone doing these random acts of kindness. We have an employee at 610 Sports who's baking bread and muffins and cookies.
Cody!
Yes, Cody Tapp, sending it to unemployed journalists. Any little thing that you can do right now, I think, means more than you know for the people who are struggling in our community.
And last word to you, Steve.
Well, Mike Mahoney stole mine. We had that bag paper on the show here the other day, but we had another woman who lives near the Nelson Atkins Museum, Nick, who was talking to us about this family of doves that nested right outside her window and how important those doves became to that couple as they watched the babies get born and then fly away. And it's interesting in moments like this that even little things like that take on such an outsized importance. It was a really cute story.
Well, by the way, you've already had an influence, Steve, because the last time you were on this program, you showed the picture from your neighborhood where you had like the X's on the ground.
There you
and
go.
People had a beer in their hands and they were 6 feet away. How many people contacted us to say they're now doing that in their neighborhood?
Yeah,
That's great.
All right, Dia Wall and Michael Mahoney and Dana Wright and Steve Kraske, thank you for reviewing the news with us this week.
Thanks, Nick.
And thank you at home for caring what happens right here in your own backyard. I'm Nick Haynes. From all of us here at KCPT, keep calm and carry on.